Your friend. Yeah, exactly. Is there an example of audience reaction, changing sort of, or their reaction to characters that's changed or affected the way you write characters?
I think only in sort of small ways. I mean, for instance, early on we were getting this question of why is Hurley not losing any weight? And so we wrote into the show that because of fan reaction that he had this stash of Dharma ranch dressing in the jungle, and then he had a stash of food. We thought it was kind of odd because everybody's really well groomed. I mean, nobody's saying, why does his hair look so nice? I mean, nobody, and there was ample, nobody looks like Tom Hanks in Castaway on our show, but for some reason the fact that, that Hurley wasn't losing weight kind of seemed to be bothering people, so we addressed it. So small things like that, yes. But, honestly, even on the Nikki and Paulo thing, by the time the audience reacted, we had already kind of we realized the sort of foolishness of our ways. But, we're writing the show way out in front of the audience. I mean, particularly in this last season, by the time the show premiered, we were working on episode 14, so there really wasn't opportunity to change our narrative.
Why do you think Nikki Paulo didn't work?
Oh, wow.
We don't have an hour.
I think the major reason was that we introduced Nikki and Paulo at a time in the early part of season 3 where we didn't have an end date yet, and we had to start kind of packing our refrigerator full of food, even food that we didn't want to eat. And this is the old adage is never go to the grocery store if you haven't had lunch first, because you're gonna buy so much stuff that you're never going to use. And we needed to start kind of stacking the deck. So one of the first things was we need new characters. We do new characters every year. So we're introducing Juliet. That's cool. She's going to be cool. But we need to introduce some people over the beach camp too. And Carl and I had one of the questions that was percolating up is why don't we ever hear from the other castaways, this group of sort of 30 people who are always walking around with like wood on their shoulders.
So in fact, Nikki and Paulo was kind of a reaction to the audience. I mean, they were saying, the audience we call blame for Nikki and Paulo.
Or you said it. Do you want to?
But no, so they were people saying, well, we never hear from the Sox, which is what we call the people who stand around and carry wood, as Damon said.
And I think that, what happened was that the audience had been watching the show for 2 seasons, so you already invested 49 hours of your life in Lost. And when Nikki and Paulo showed up, you were like, who the hell are you? I have a right to be here, but I never saw you before. Yeah. Don't pretend like you were here before, because I know you weren't.
Yeah, and I think people were angry that we tried to sort of reinsert them into the backstory of the show and stuff. And then the episode, and then the episode where we actually sort of, killed them off was a real, kind of an acknowledgement of the audience. And so that was the other episode beside across the street that was really polarizing, because I think people who really held the show closely were like, how dare you actually acknowledge that the audience is influencing the course of the narrative? And, but it was, and other people liked it because it was sort of a, tongue-in-cheek, okay, we messed up, now we're going to bury them alive,
and this is a place where, Eddie Kittis and Adam Horowitz, who actually wrote Expose, kind of said that the best approach to this episode, Expose, is to kind of infuse it with humor, because we have to be able to, the show takes itself very seriously, but we have to be able to laugh at ourselves. And there's a way to be funny about it. And one of the things that we were debating in the room is the teaser of that show is Nikki basically comes staggering out of the jungle and she collapses. And Hurley said, oh my God, it's Nikki. And then Sarah goes, who the hell is Nikki?
That was a very wink to the audience.
But we broke the fourth wall, because logistically speaking, they would all know each other's names. But by Sawyer acknowledging, I also do not like these characters, suddenly it made it okay. And that was our way of saying to you guys, hey, we made a mess, and now instead of, one option was that Nikki and Paulo are never seen or heard from again. The other option was, let's do an episode about them with Billy D. Williams in it. And that one sounds good. Let's go that way. Let's get Lando in there.
How many Star Wars references are you going to work into tonight?
There is a very prevalent Star Wars reference in the first 7 minutes of the finale.
Woo! Our next Our next question from the theater audience comes from David Skidmore in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. When you were kids, what TV show made you say, I want to do that?
Oh, boy, question. Many TV shows. I mean, it's funny. I think in life you find things that kind of come around in ways that are so unexpected. And my parents were divorced. My mom worked. I would come home from school and I would watch a lot of TV and I would watch reruns of everything, Westerns, sitcoms, everything from like Petticoat Junction, Hogan's Heroes, I Love Lucy, Gunsmoke, Banana.